Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Legal World. Myself Dr. Seema Goyal. As I have started with the series on the banking law, and in this series I have discussed many important questions relating to the banking law. Today in this video I am going to discuss one more important question that has been generally asked for 4 marks in the short notes, or it may be asked for 20 marks also. My question is, what do you mean by letter of credit, and what are the parties to the letter of credit, and what are the contents of letter of credit? Define in detail. If we talk about the word letter of credit, a letter of credit is a document sent from a bank or the financial institute which guarantees that a seller will receive a buyer's payment on time and for the full amount. A letter of credit is also known as credit letter. In simple words, a letter of credit is a promise the bank makes stating that the buyer would pay the sellers in full by the required date and appropriate, failing which the bank would be accountable and would have to pay. Thus, the letter of credit is an assurance or guarantee to the seller that they will be paid for a large transaction. If we talk about the importance of letter of credit, since the nature of international trade and includes a factor such as different laws, lack of personal context during the international trade, letter of credit makes a reliable payment mechanism, and the International Chamber of Commerce codified the uniform custom and practice for the documentary credit in 1933 that is used in international transactions, which was revived from time to time. A large number of nations have accepted the membership of the UCPDC, and this codification has helped all the countries to adopt uniform custom in the matters of documentary credits so that various transactions in the international trade take place smoothly. Talk about the meaning of letter of credit. Apart from the providing appropriate mechanism for making the payments, modern banks are rendering the many subsidiary services. Issuing letter of credit is an essential subsidiary service that is provided by the banks. A letter of credit is a written undertaking by the importer's bank of at the request of the buyer in favor of the exporter, authorizing him to draw bills up to a specified amount, including a specified shipment of goods, as per terms of the letter of credit of his own nation. In other words, a letter of credit is a written undertaking that is given by the buyer's bank, that is the issuing bank, to pay the exporters of good, that is known as beneficiary. A letter of credit can't be considered as a negotiable instrument, as it is a conditional undertaking, while the negotiable instrument never contains the conditional undertaking. According to Section 2, Clause 3, Clause C of the Stamp Act, a letter of credit is a letter written by the one person to another requesting to advance the money or entrust the goods to a particular person for which the writer's credit is pledged. If we talk about the parties to the letter of credit, there are certain parties to the letter of credit. First party is applicant or the importer or the buyer of goods. The person that is importer, the person who makes the application to the bank and on whose behalf the letter of credit is opened, that is called opener, or the applicant of the letter of credit. Second party is importer's bank or the beneficiary. The bank who opens the letter of the credit at the request of the importer is called the beneficiary. So the beneficiary is the exporter in whose favor letter of credit is opened. That is called issuing bank. And the third party is advising bank or the notifying bank. The banker that advises the exporter or seller that credit has been opened in the favor of the advising bank. As notifying bank, it may be the branch of the importer's bank or the seller's bank or a third bank. And the next party to the letter of credit, that is the confirming bank. The bank that confirms the opening of the letter of credit to the exporter or the beneficiary, that is known as confirming bank. It undertakes on it the part of liability of the credit. And the next party, that is the negotiating bank. The banker which negotiates the draft under the credit is known as negotiating banker. When the exporter draws the bill under the terms and conditions of a letter of credit, he negotiates the bill with a bank who pays the amount of the bill to the exporter. Such bank is called negotiating bank, nominated bank, or the paying bank. And the last party to the letter of credit, that is the beneficiary. It is the seller or the exporter in whose favor letter of credit is opened. So these are the parties in the letter of credit. And next one is opening of the letter of credit. If we talk about the opening of the letter of credit, opening of letter of credit arises when some goods are to be imported from one country to the another country. In India, a letter of credit may be opened by the banker who are authorized to deal in foreign exchange by the Reserve Bank of India. And these banks are called authorized banks or authorized dealers. And the next one is liability of the opening bank in respect of the letter of credit is absolute. Thus, the letter of credit should be opened with the great care and caution after being satisfying with the financial understanding that the creditworthiness of the applicant at whose application a letter of credit is issued as opening. A letter of credit imposes absolute obligation to the bank to pay. And the application for the opening of letter of credit is followed by the filling prescribed form for the opening of the letter of credit. And by this application, he requests the banker to issue the letter of credit in favor of some foreign supplier. The applicant has to given an undertaking that bill drawn on under the letter of credit will be accepted and paid by him. If we talk about the contents of the letter of credit, a letter of credit opened by the banker should be complete and containing the following details. Then only it can be considered as complete letter of credit. First particular is name and address of the applicant and the beneficiary. Second is the amount of the credit. Third one is whether the credit is revocable or the irrevocable, or with the recourse or without recourse. And the nature and quantity of the goods must to be shipped, that must be given. And next one is mode of the shipment, by whether it is by air, steamer, etc. That must also be discussed. Next one is date of the expiry of the last date of the shipment, and the part of the shipment and the destination should also be mentioned, and country of origin and the modes of reimbursement and other requirements of bill of exchange, that also be discussed under the letter of credit. So these are the certain details that also must be mentioned in the letter of credit. This was all about the letter of credit, parties to the letter of credit, importance of letter of credit, and the opening of letter of credits, and the contents of letter of credits. In the next video, I will discuss with the types of letter of credit. And if you have any doubt, then you must put down in the comment section. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe this channel for the further update. Thank you.